topics we were talking about. So we're this month, and so Shane owes me some coffee or chocolate because this was supposed to be a group effort here. As the math person, we're always struggling. Is this too close? To find math assessments for MTSS to the extent that rating has. And so one of the things that interested us in this math was it was supposed to be quick, easy, give us data. We could start the year off with it. So YPilot, early warning system, was online. It's obviously vetted, looking at data to help us form our MTSS groups right away. Supposed to be easy. And I will tell you, it was really easy to implement. Having been trained in A reading, this is much easier, and our teachers really liked it. The protocols and processes, it's not exactly A reading because it's a little bit different. So a lot of our teachers went in thinking they were going to use their same passwords and things. It's different because it does go through the Iowa tiers. And for our sixth grade teachers who had not done a reading or been exposed to it, this was completely new. And our sixth grade is not in the elementary, but West Des Moines is. And so that's a little bit, so they did do a reading, we didn't. So our sixth grade teachers, it's the start of our middle school, we did all sixth grade. And so that was an aha, but our sixth grade teachers, I will tell you, love this because they're doing Summit Strong. Our middle school there is Summit. And so they're MTSS, and it gave them immediate data. So we're always looking for when and where is the math, right? We've got to have more math data besides Iowa assessment. We are in Johnston a MAP district, but we don't start that till third grade. So we're always looking for those early math. I put this up just so you would recognize it. This is what happens when you go there. You log in. It's different than A reading, but similar in the format. So that looks very familiar. Over here on the left, you see where it says A math, and you see where it says SB math. Okay, well, our original plan in Johnston was we were going to do half of our sixth grade because it's a pilot, so we were learners, as A math, and half of it with SB math, which is standards-based math. It's not exactly what we thought it was. So it is specifically by skill. You kind of pre-test, post-test. So we're hoping next year to use it in the fact that with some of our MTSS groups, pre-testing and post-testing on specific skills that they're low on. It didn't meet our need this time. So we did all A math for our pilots. The West Des Moines plan I'm going to put up here, and I will say they did it just a little bit before, so we learned a lot from them. They were probably like a month ahead of us on some rollout, which, you know, when you're figuring out all the bells and whistles with everything, it's always nice to have someone who's maybe frontier down that road. So they currently use EasyCBM in 3 of their Title I buildings. Their timeline was they met in the fall. You can see with whom there. And then they provided PD to the teachers in the winter and integrated the analysis of the data. Their pilot size was 80 K-5 classrooms, and those initials there represent the schools that they did them at. For us in Johnston, we gave the opportunity, we gave it as an optional opportunity because you might not feel this way, but our elementary buildings feel they've been over-assessed on everything. So we thought if we added one more thing, they might jump ship. So we made it optional. And by doing that, we didn't have all representation. So we had 3 of our 5 elementaries. And then within the elementary, it was optional whether you participated. But as you can see, we had really, really good follow-up. People wanted this data. They wanted to be part of it. So we met early too, and Vicki Borch assisted us, and we had the volunteer principals. And I can't say enough about key department for this, your technology department. You got to have them on board with you because they've got to upload all the rosters. You've got to be able to, the left hand has to know what the right hand is doing as far as when it's entered. We did about 520 students of our sixth graders at Summit. And then 3 of our 5 elementaries with 19 participating classrooms, that's about 500 students across that. And those are varying grades. So like if one third grade teacher in the district wanted to do it, that was okay for this purpose. We didn't say the whole team had to because it was a pilot. Our goal, we are just giving it next week actually for spring, but we want to start the year next year with it. Our sixth grade teachers are ready, like day one. So maybe we should listen to that institute. What do you do the first day of school? I'm not sure, given the FAST test is the right thing, but maybe it is. But they see such value in it that they can hit the ground. It's not, the kids liked it. It takes 20 to 30 minutes. It's really quick. One thing we did not do this year, we did do it in labs. It is iPad or mobile ready. So as we get more iPads, that might be more conducive too. I'm going to talk briefly about the early math because we didn't do it in Johnston, but West Des Moines did. There's 3 different subtests and they change based on what time of the year it is and what the learners are learning. It is more diagnostic, where A reading is more of a screener, and it requires, both the tests require teacher certification. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And it is directly aligned with questions that would be like smarter balance and those things, but you actually give it to students face-to-face versus online, and then you enter their data. We didn't do that in Johnston. We did A math in all of them, but some of the things that are on this early reading, early math are like counting objects, number identification, visual story problems, things like kindergarten, first grade would have. Okay, for us in A math, doesn't matter what grade it is, there's 30 questions. Of course, they're adaptive. That's how you get the scores. They go up or they go down. We reserved 40 minutes to start off with in every lab. Really, most kids are done in 20 minutes, particularly the older grades. It's not timed, so they can stay later with that. And so there are constructed response and also multiple choice. Every teacher who gives it has to go through a certification. Super easy. We did it during one PLC. 40 minutes, they're done. They go in, they get the certification that they can do it. It's not at all like the A reading with the modules. It's not like that. The benchmarks are on national, and we can do it district-wide. I'm going to show you some reports in a minute here. Very, very serviceable, very quick data, easy. Our teachers liked it, our students liked it. Zillions kinds of reports. You get individual student, you can get class, you can get district, you can get grade level across the district. Our plan would be to give it beginning, mid, and end, but you can give it up to 5 times. We are a MAP district in Johnston, so a lot of times our teachers think all the tests kind of are the same a little bit. So like if you give MAP, they have a pop-up calendar and stuff, calculator. That does not occur on this test. There is no calculator. They have a pop-up number screen. We have to explain it to students that that's not a calculator. That's an entry. You click it and it goes over. It's not a calculator. It's not going to do any function for you. So there's no calculators. We did make the decision. We couldn't find in any of the protocols really that whether calculators were allowed or not. So we just went with the one. If it's on their IEP, then we of course would allow it with that, but nothing on the screen would come up. But we would just follow what we normally do with testing. Here's an example of the various reports you get as you compare students across, and the color codes I'll explain to you in a minute, but it can do it by benchmark, it can do it by individual skills report. So like if you were following a student, the group growth, that's a classroom going across. It's just a multitude. It's great PLC information when they go. Our 6th grade just ate it up. They just loved this with that. This is an impact report. So I ran this after our winter testing. This is for Summit Middle School. And it gives you a real quick report of the students that are on trend, the ones that have some risk, and some that have high risk. With that, this is the first time we gave it. And so really quickly, then you can drill down, tells you the student names, tell you what classroom they're in, that. So of course, now we're going to look at the spring data, and we're going to be able to compare it and make some. The first time we gave it, it was, to get all those bugs and whistles out as far as what gave it, what did we get from it, with that. So, the other thing I should say with that is it was reaffirming to some of our teachers going, I could have told you this before the child took this. Or like the couple that, we had a couple students that had behavior problems, when they were done in like 4 minutes with the 30 questions, it was reaffirming. It was right before conferences, so it was really handy to be able to talk to parents about that. The early math, this is result report that comes back. If you notice, the color codes for this that goes with the composite is here, and that goes across as far as number sense and kindergarten and inverse, the different tests. And again, I'm speaking to this having never given this test because we chose not to give this. But the ones that has the exclamation mark, that means risk, and 2 exclamation marks means high risk. So you'll be really worried about those students. The other color codes, there's a report that would go with it. So this represents going across a student, going across each one of these in the classroom. And so that's really quick, wonderful data to have at your fingertips with students. This one I can speak to. This is an AIM math one that we get back per class. And if you notice, starts with a 205 at the top. There's a little star, that's career and readiness. This is for 6th grade. And as you go down, these are the different scores going down. I'm sorry, this is for 1st grade. As you go down, you'll see the different, obviously the higher up you are, more proficient you are, and you go down. The ELP teachers were asking me, they were kind of getting in on some conversations. Hey, can we look at this? I'm like, well, not quite yet. We need to know a little bit more about it and what it's stands, as a filter. But as we look at particularly our K-1-2, needing more data points as we look at our math. Again, you see the exclamation marks at the bottom, being at risk. These are the visual coding. This is one thing our teachers struggled with, but we had to go back to what the original definition of a screener is. They didn't like the fact that the green was 31 to 85%. They thought that was too big. But when we're looking at proficiency, like that's okay, with that. And so they were wishing there was another color code in there. I said, well, we could ourselves come up with, when we look, and that gives us the numbers, but this is a screener. And so this is what went across. And of course, this is at the top, listing off the average and the different things. They're like you get on all the reports. This is something I believe West Des Moines was looking at. This is something we did not do. We do this very similarly with MAP. So we go in, we look at those RIT bands, and then we look at what that correlates to as far as the skills, and then what they're doing or what their next learning skill would be. So as you go in here, a math scale score range gives you an idea of where the students fall, particularly in your class. This would be fantastic for PLC discussion, or if you're like regrouping with students and different things in small group. There are AMath benchmarks as far as what the scores have to be. We just kind of put this in here, that it gives you the number of students below benchmark, above benchmark, the percent by class level, by grade, by building. Again, it's just all those different things you can get off of this report. One of the things we keep talking about is the universal tier instruction, as far as if less than 8% of students are proficient on a universal screening. That's kind of a new thing for us in math, and working toward and looking at those. And so gently trotting into that, but this would be a really great vehicle for that. And again, pilots, we didn't have like everybody give it. We had 2 buildings that didn't give it at all. And so, but they're starting to hear more about it, or I'm hearing, hey, can we do that? We didn't do it. Now they're asking instead of us saying you had to do it. Just like MAP, you get the RIT bands and what they stand for. This is the book that gives us exactly what the scores stand for. You go through this, and it has all the different ranges, and it tells you what the kids have mastered, what they're ready for. Again, I speak to 6th grade only because they all gave it. So the conversation is significantly different than in other ones. But even like when in some of our buildings, we have what we call core math teachers. Because of the TLC grant, they're backfilling in for other leaders who are going out to model. And so I have like a teacher at Timber Ridge who teaches 5th, 3rd, and 1st grade math. Great resource, because she's seeing those connections between the different. So she gave those to her classroom, and she could see what they were getting tested on in 5th versus 3rd and 1st, and so on. So what I'm hearing is we're really interested